The following podcast is a part of RadioMisfits.com. And now it's time for the Mr. Nailsin Show. All right, I've had to put together yet another interrupted Nailsin Show. I even considered just not doing one and say, look, things happen. Sometimes I miss it. And keep things for next week. Because I did complete a Sun King episode. So I had that, and that's kind of the main thing. And didn't get around to anything else because we had quite the little snowstorm down here, which is unusual for the area. There's been snow in the area over the years. It's not all that frequent, but nothing quite like this. Rather, the thick, fluffy stuff all over the place. And so it's rare. It happens. But I think for this amount, I think you got to go back to the 60s when it happened at that amount. So anyway, there was all kinds of power outages and that kind of thing off and on, and lack of sleep and what have you. And so it made it very difficult to just to take the time to tape this, tape that. But got Sun King done. And I managed to do a few live streams and draw with them just sitting there, talking to people. Didn't really do anything, but to put together Nailsin news and the like takes a certain amount of concentration and whatnot, and then the after work and all that. And so one thing leads to another, and now I'm at the running out of time before I have to get enough sleep to go to work Friday night, which is the night I send the Nailsin episode, usually that or early Saturday morning over to Radio Misfits. So last time I thought, hey, I've got the Sun King episode, but I could also add in the original episode of Maximite, this villain that's based on the Superman Ultra Humanite character from the old Superman stories, and following through on that, which is the inspiration for it all. Even the bit about putting his brain in a woman's body. That's what that character did in the Superman comics. So did it here too. And all that. And then I thought, well, there's other episodes that made mention of this. And also it connects to the, Sun King Supergirl, which is Sunshiner, and that whole thing. But it's just too much. And the other time for this version of Maximite was first introduced was in the Sarcophagus saga. Well, that thing is really long. It was a lot of episodes. So it's just, that would be like almost 2 shows worth of stuff just to give the background to refresh on who the character is and all that for the purposes of a single episode that barely runs 7 minutes or what, So didn't get a chance to do any Nailsin news stories. And but what I do similar to Nailsin news is what a segment called New York Post Stories for Pat Dixon's crime report on censored TV, now compound censored .tv. And they're made into these cartoons on there. And some of them don't make it. Some of them don't get there. Time constraints, didn't get to finish it in time, stuff like that. And I had a couple of the audio done. And I just got to clip off like the end bit and I could put the background sounds of Nailsin news. And there you go. You got it. So I had a couple. They're very short. And one was even from this year. We mean a couple of weeks ago. The other one was not too long ago involving New York City about a prosecutor who got accosted and robbed by some pervert. And then the big one that runs almost the entirety of the show, but it's an interesting, bizarre story. But we already talked about it on this show. When I say we, because Pat was my guest on that. And so I had Pat come on and we talked about in great detail this story about this woman who got revenge on her ex, or not her ex. I don't think they were divorced yet. I can't remember. But the story will refresh you on the details. And, she deliberately, she was just out of her mind and, went to have assisted suicide done, in Europe, and then left behind all this information to destroy her husband's reputation and all. It was a wild, crazy story. But I had done my own solo version of it. I think I was going to use it for post stories because the guy was a New York resident, but ended up not doing it, and used it for my own show. And of course, Pat was my guest, and we hashed that one out. So this will be a different take on it, where it's just me doing it, and then those other two stories will follow through, and then of course Sun King. So that's the show I got for you. Hope you enjoy, even though these are always 6 sad stories from the news. Oh, yes. All right. Hopefully, I'll have more time next week for the Mr. Nailsin Show. Yeah. You're listening to the Mr. Nailsin Show here on RadioMisfits.com. You ever find yourself breaking into a woman's home just so you can steal her underwear and sniff it? Yeah, chances are you're going to end up in jail, or at the very least slapped with a restraining order. But such are the pitfalls of having an obsession for a woman you can never truly have. But what if it was possible to have your very own replica of said woman in your home that you can order to do whatever you want? Well, now you can with Dr. Ishipupu's Girl of Your Dreams Sex Droid.
Yes, I am Dr. Ishipupu, and with my sex droid and the utilization of the latest technology in digital 3D printing, you can now have the girl of your dreams. All you need do is have profile shot and front face frontal shot, and you can provide that simply by stalking, as I know you will do. Once we have that on file, we can produce for you the perfect girl of your dreams. We can even make improvement in bust size and buttocks. She will obey all your commands.
Please, please, fuck me in the ass. Please, please, fuck me in the ass.
Guaranteed to feel like a woman. Not that you would know. Hurry now and order your girl of your dreams.
Yes, operators are standing by for Dr. Ishipupu's Girl of Your Dreams Sex Droid. Don't delay. Order today. Warning, sex droids can result in castration. If this happens to you, you have been warned, and therefore we are not held liable. Once the transaction clears, we wipe our ass of you. The Mr. Nailsin Show is brought to you by, well, me, Sun King. Yes, that's right. And of course, you can enjoy my adventures here on the Mr. Nailsin Show rather regularly. But you can also see my adventures in full color within the pages of my comic book, also called, guess what? Sun King. Yes, that's right. You need only head over to indieplanet.com and search for Sun King, and my comic book can be yours. Don't delay. Order a copy today. This is a Nailsin News Bulletin. The matriarch of a successful Westchester legal family died by assisted suicide to torture her ex-husband and their children after she was accused of abusing her adopted daughter. And to make sure her wrath outlived her, Catherine Kasanoff posted a trove of documents and videos online, unleashing a torrent of TikTok trolls and social media influencers who tormented her family. Catherine, who made herself the star of this stunning story, was a prominent attorney who once served as special counsel to New York Governor Kathy Hochul. Yeah. Alan Kasanoff told the Free Press that Catherine spent years crafting a false narrative in which she was an innocent victim, and he, the evil husband. In my eyes, Catherine went through with her suicide in order to destroy me and the children, Alan told the Post. Well, there she is, and there he is, and there's the kids. Yeah. He also said she was successful in achieving her alleged goal because of the emotional toll her medically assisted suicide continues to inflict on him and their family. Following an 8-month investigation, the Free Press detailed a litany of claims after speaking to Alan, her former psychiatrist, former nannies, and others who described Catherine as everything from very calm to a psychopath and terrifying. On May 27, 2023, the Westchester mother of 3 announced in a shocking letter on Facebook that she was scheduled to die by assisted suicide in Switzerland later that day. In the Post, Catherine wrote that she had been diagnosed with terminal cancer, but decided to end her life due to Alan's alleged abuse and a predatory court system that began keeping her away from the couple's 3 daughters in 2018. It is with a profound heartbreak that I am writing my last post ever. Today I will be ending my own life. In the last 4 years of my life, I have woken up every day to a nightmare like no other. A Westchester family court had cut her off from contact with her 3 daughters, ages 9, 12, and 13. I cannot survive this torment and the grief that comes from such a prolonged separation from my children. Well, I thought terminal cancer was the main thing. Well, all right. So there's the whole water, The court system did this to me. It is a predatory system that functions in darkness. Well, yeah, sometimes. And sometimes right in broad daylight, to stop an election and stuff like that. But anyway, through gag orders, like the one in my case, through a publicly inaccessible docket, through a closed courtroom, and through ex parte temporary orders that are in place for years. Catherine's final Facebook message included a Dropbox link that contained thousands of court filings and numerous legal documents, medical records, and videos, including the videos that were later picked up by TikTokers who accused Alan of abusing her. She claimed that the contents of these files proved she did nothing wrong, and maintained that her children were taken away as a result of unfair rulings, a disgraced custody evaluator, a money-motivated attorney for the children, and the court favoring the moneyed party. In her suicide note, she begged readers, "Don't let my death be in vain." Alan, a prominent lawyer in his own right, has repeatedly denied all allegations of abuse and claimed Catherine's allegations were vexatious. She used to call the police on a weekly basis, he told the Free Press, but they never filed charges. Each time it was more nonsensical than the time before, but she was trying to build a case. Do you see what I mean? Oh. She's a lawyer. She's very conniving and scheming. Speaking to the Post, Alan said Catherine did not have terminal cancer. Well, that's interesting, but still, what are the assisted suicide laws in Switzerland? Sounds like they're pretty easy, That's what happens when you're taken over by a death cult. Anyway, I called her oncologist. He said she last came in for a checkup and had a clear bill of health. During their custody battle, Alan accused Catherine, also oncologist, so she did have a history of cancer. But according to him, I guess she was in remission. But anyway, Alan accused Catherine of trying to destroy him, according to emails made public by Catherine. Even if this court awards you my last dollar, I will never stop protecting them, Alan wrote Catherine in an email on March 19th. Until the day I die. So there you go. Oh, here he is. This is probably a TikTok video that she dumped where he's cussing her out and stuff. Video previously posted on social media showed Alan yelling at Catherine, saying he hated her and deriding the mother of his children as a fat old loser in another clip. Yeah, this is a shot from the video where he's yelling at her and everything. But what started the argument? You know how you never see that part in these videos? Context is everything. Can we understand that? In another disturbing clip, a young girl can be heard crying in the background as Alan says he refuses to take his daughter to school. Take your daughter. I'm not taking her. She's spoiled, and I'm not taking her. She will be punished by not going today. He continues about his daughter. I'm not dealing with her anymore. I will no longer take her to activities over the weekend. I will no longer do nice things for her. She will be treated the way everyone else is. Again, what pissed him off, all that sort of stuff, you know. The videos have millions of views on TikTok, which influencer Robbie Harvey used to accuse Alan of verbal and emotional abuse toward Catherine and the daughters. Some observers were quick to blast the attorney. Hey, Alan Kasanoff, we are all the voice of Catherine, one tweet read. Buckle up, you piece of shit. The videos of your cruelty, abuse, and manipulation are going viral. Alan's former employee said no judges or court-appointed forensic evaluators involved in the couple's lengthy trials found evidence of domestic violence as alleged by his ex-wife. However, following an internal investigation, he was forced to step down with a severance package or be fired. Yeah, well, that's a different matter, isn't it? You know, it says, hey, we don't need this kind of heat. Sorry, Alan, but I'm giving you the boot. So, you know, damaged his employment, you know. The firm has concluded its review of the situation to determine Alan Kasanoff's status with the firm, a statement from the law firm read. Our primary obligation is to maintain and protect the core values and best interests of our firm, our clients, our lawyers, and our professional staff. So, there you go. Oh, there she is. See? I guess these two are not the adopted one. On Friday, Harvey issued a groveling apology to Alan in a video posted on TikTok. It appeared to have completely flipped on his previous position after the attorney sued him. Mess with a lawyer and, well, find out. Sued him over his false statements. Harvey told viewers he had reviewed the documents uploaded by Catherine along with others provided by Alan that he did not previously have. You know. Context again. He said they explained what happened in his marriage. Upon discussion with Alan, I've decided to take down my videos about the Kasanoff story because there are errors in the videos I posted. In my videos, I made some mistakes in the reporting of the story, which was a result of not having all the information available to me because Catherine, surprisingly enough, did not provide a complete record of what was happening. Imagine that. I apologize to Alan. I apologize to the Kasanoff children for any harm I have caused. Well, that's one, but, you know. Perhaps the most startling allegations in the Free Press report are about Catherine's abuse of the pair's oldest daughter, Allie, whom they adopted in 2009. Less than a year later, Catherine got pregnant and welcomed their second daughter, Charlie, in February 2011. She had a third girl, JoJo, in August 2013. In 2019, Alan submitted to the court recordings of Catherine berating Allie, calling her a moron and a complete idiot, yelling at her for stealing a chocolate bar from Catherine's bedroom, telling her, you will go to jail if you keep this up. Well, see, what goes around comes around and all that. 4 of the children's nannies told the Free Press that Catherine strongly favored her 2 biological daughters at the expense of their adopted daughter. Kim Hull, who worked as a live-in nanny for the family in 2009 when Allie was a baby, claimed that Catherine instructed her to keep the child awake all day by dripping water on her head so that she would sleep through the night. Jeez. Oh, here's the white knight asshole who got sued into groveling. Yeah, well, sucks to be you, huh? Hull said she refused and noted that she also found marks on the baby's back and looked like they'd been caused by fingernails digging into her skin. She claimed she took Allie to the doctor, but never reported Catherine because she terrified her. Well, Selene Dublanchet, who became the Casanov's au pair in October 2016, made equally disturbing allegations about Catherine. According to court documents, Dublachet said Catherine once locked Allie, then Seven, in the basement by herself for 2 hours as a punishment. On another occasion, Catherine made the child go outside alone after dark to clean the garden in the middle of winter. Dublachet claimed that Allie slept on a mattress on the floor in her room while the other 2 children slept in Catherine's bed every night. Allie was forced to make her mother's bed, according to the name. Allie was Cinderella, Dublachet later wrote to the court. Her 2 sisters, Anastasia and Drizella, and Catherine, the horrible stepmother. Another nanny, Mylene Gry, lived in the Casanov's home from 2015 to 2016. She claimed that Catherine screamed at Allie for almost 10 minutes after she misbehaved. She said things such as, "You will never have friends. You will never succeed in life or get married and have your own kids. What I witnessed in my 13 months working for the Casanovs has troubled me to this day," Gry wrote to the court in June 2019 when the couple was fighting over custody of the children. "I believe Catherine is a mentally ill and abusive person." Well, the worst here is the weird punishments she did to the kid and the fingernails in the back. That's pretty weird. But I suppose the other complaints here from the other nannies, gives credibility to that. She just didn't accept her adopted daughter when she had 2 of her own. So in Catherine's parting statement, she wrote, "Their father has spent years and millions of dollars, over $3 million, to eliminate me from our girls' lives. He will never relent. As long as I am alive and want to see them, they will be damaged over and over again." Well, yes. So when you're gone for good, they won't be damaged with every attempt I make. What is the point of that? The last thing I want to do is make my own children suffer. However, Colin Brewer, the famed psychiatrist who signed off on Catherine's suicide request, revealed to the Free Press that Catherine's death was originally scheduled for October 2022, months before she lost all access to her children. Whoops, caught lying again. It was postponed twice for administrative reasons. Oh, boy, we're going to have to cancel your suicide for a later day. Brewer, an assisted suicide advocate who penned the 2015 book, "I'll See Myself Out, Thank You," said she never seemed anything but competent, except, she lost her self-preservation. Anyway, she was always very calm, he added. She got naturally a bit exasperated when talking about her husband. She was, he said, very clear about what she wanted to do and why she wanted to do it. Well, no doubt. Brewer said Catherine told him she had cancer, but it was not the reason she provided for wanting to die. Instead, she gave an unusual explanation. You don't say. It was not something that troubled her because she wasn't planning to be around long enough for it to cause trouble, he added. She was just concerned that she had been treated abominably by her husband. He said Catherine's death was an existential assisted suicide. Such suicides are the result of people feeling, he said, that they have failed to achieve something very important, or that something very important is being destroyed. Yeah, she's mentally ill, and she was taken advantage of. Look, I don't like the woman. This is a lot of really nasty crap, plus caught in a lie here, in her own suicide note. But this is an asshole who took advantage of this woman. It was obvious. By his own interaction, it had nothing to do with cancer. She had this plot against her evil husband. And this guy, whatever. I'm all about suicide. So hurry up and let's end this. And so there you go. Yeah. Well, that's in Switzerland, so what are you going to do, But, of course, there's people who want that here. I think they started that in Canada now. If you're just depressed or whatever, go ahead and go away. But here, she didn't go away just out of that, and her mental illness is certainly at play here. But she did it as an act of revenge. And assholes like that guy participated in it. Well, the good news is the evil stepmother is dead. The bad news is people just don't understand the necessities of context. So, Yeah, good luck. This has been a Nailsin News Bulletin.
Mint, is gray hair sneaking up on you?
Hey, it is sneaking up on me. Down hair, too.
Mint, your world doesn't need to be all shades of gray. With For Men Only Hair Stain, you can re-enter a manly black and colored world and get laid. Now FDA approved for your pubes.
Oh, now that's a lot better.
And thicker, too.
Hair stain is for men only. Women, especially pregnant women, should never even touch hair stain unless you want breast cancer, brain cancer, rectal rot, and or retard babies. By purchasing this product, we assume that you do not want the aforementioned maladies.
This is a Nailsin News Bulletin. Blasting music and watching TV without headphones on a train or bus isn't just annoying. It's an unspoken act of aggression, backed by the threat of violence. And everyone nearby knows it. That's the conclusion of one crime expert after a commuter was knifed in the chest on the Metro North for asking a fellow passenger to turn down his music. And strap hangers agree, telling the Post that nuisance noises are a major irritation. But they're too scared of nasty blowback if they so much as look at the offender wrong. How those people are behaving is pretty stark and clear. They understand that they're misbehaving. Manhattan Institute fellow Raphael A. Mangual explained. Mangual studies policing and has been particularly interested in the alarming state of New York City's subway system. They are satiating some kind of psychological desire for power by engaging in that kind of behavior in public spaces, he told the Post. Because when they do that and they're not challenged, it confirms to them that there is fear in the room, which is something that they're trying to create. And that, I think, feeds their self-identity as a tough guy. All of this kind of behavior is ultimately backed by the credible threat of violence. The Metro North attack is a perfect example, Mangual said. In that case, 46-year-old Abdul Malik Little was blasting music from his phone when a 31-year-old man asked him to turn it off. Little refused and became enraged, stabbing the man twice in the chest as the train pulled into Grand Central Station. The victim was left with non-life-threatening injuries and was able to identify his attacker, who was quickly arrested by police patrolling their train platform. The outcome is exactly what many strap hangers are thinking of when somebody starts blasting their phone on the subway these days. And they're often too scared to say anything for fear they might be next. I hear it often too much, said 40-year-old Nanny Greta Ram Kissoon. I hear rap music, curse words, putting women down, calling them bitches. Disgusting. They stand at the door looking around, like they are waiting for someone to tell them turn it down so they can start their nonsense, looking for trouble. Just the other day on the L train, Ram Kissoon said trouble almost started when somebody merely looked at a music blaster the wrong way. The music was really loud. Somebody looked at him. I didn't see who. I only heard him say, "What the fuck you looking at?" The situation eventually cooled after another strap hanger desperately pointed out that there were kids around, but the man didn't turn his music off. I would never say a word to them. They are looking for trouble, and I want to go home to my children, said Ram Kissoon, a mother of two. Joseph Miller, a 25-year-old graduate student from Brooklyn, says he sees people blaring music and movies from their phones, and that while it drives him nuts, nobody ever speaks up. Nowadays, you don't get involved because you never know what will happen. You might end up in the hospital or in a body bag. It's not worth it, so I try to ignore it. Listening to music or watching videos out loud on the transit system is prohibited by the MTA and is punishable by fines up to $50. Nevertheless, no strap hangers the Post spoke with said they'd ever seen that rule being enforced. Huh. How about that? Such a lack of enforcement of such basic social norms as being polite on the subway is a slippery slope to a dangerous city, Mangual said, and that it won't change unless the city steps up. Right now, the city's sending the opposite message, Mangual said. In places where disorder is allowed to fester, more serious crime is going to follow because that disorder is a sign that those places are falling to a state of vulnerability. Strap hangers across the city have been particularly on edge following a spate of horrifying and high-profile attacks, including a sleeping woman being burned to death by a deranged rider on an F train in December, and a man being shoved directly in front of an oncoming train days later. Both assaults came on the heels of the Daniel Penny trial in which a strap hanger who fatally choked out an irate homeless man on an F train faced trial for manslaughter, a case that lasted more than a year. There were 10 murders across the subway system in 2024, a 25-year high, and 579 felony assaults, an increase from 2023. But I thought crime was down. With all that top of mind, asking somebody to do something as seemingly simple as turning down their music has left many strap hangers fearful they might be taking their lives in their hands, because they are. People are scared to say anything because they will go crazy and get physical, said 53-year-old Frank Mancuso. People are afraid. I keep my mouth shut. The MTA did not respond to requests for comment. Some time ago, someone had a theory called the broken window theory, but enlightened progressive minds declared that silly, stupid, and possibly racist. So it was abandoned. Now everybody gets to be scared and insane together. This has been a Nailsin News Bulletin. Smellog's Poop, the super delicious laxative, presents The Adventures of Sun King. Faster than the speed of light, more powerful than an atomic bomb, able to leap the moon in a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! It's a comet!
It's a UFO!
No! It's Sun King! Yes, Sun King. And who, disguised as mild-mannered tabloid reporter Mark Milktit, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
I am going to have my brain transplanted into your body!
What? Oh, that's crazy. Impossible, even.
No, it isn't. I've done it before, and I'll do it again. I mean,
What?
shit, how do you think I ended up in this body? But once I'm transplanted into yours, I will have my ultimate revenge on you, my old enemy.
Oh, old enemy? Why, I've never had any interaction with you.
Oh, God, you're thick. I mean, my brain will really be 1,000% improvement in that skull of yours. Damn it, Sun King, it's me, Maximite!
What? I mean, how? Why?
Well, the how is a result of my super genius. As to the why, well, after you destroyed my experimental jet, I was near death in my already aged and crippled body. So I realized I needed a new one, and so I plotted. It took all that was left of my ill-gotten fortune, in order to arrange to have the procedure performed, I had to have the perfect receptacle, and I was going to need a means by which to restore my wealth for my, further endeavors and eventually finding a better body, and to keep this going. And so it was obvious. I was going to have to transplant my brain into the body of a porn star who would be capable of seducing a man of wealth and power. Which, of course, is, how I ended up in the body of porn star Maxine Asskisser and later married to Rex Rain.
Green snot! I mean, you and Rex Rain?
Well, it makes perfect sense. I mean, time was of the essence. I was a little desperate. And anyway, I wouldn't expect a small-minded imbecile like yourself to understand the ultimate machinations of a super genius like me.
Well, I don't know. I mean, couldn't you have attempted to swap bodies with Rex himself?
Oh, that's so stupid. Oh, yeah. No, that's ridiculous. I mean, it's much easier to lure a stupid porn star whore into a trap than a multi-billionaire like Rex Rain.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. I got to admit, I never would have thought Rex Rain would be into this sort of thing.
Oh, well, he doesn't know anything about this. It's all he knows. He married his favorite porn star, Maxine Asskisser.
Green snot. This is all rather extreme, if not horrifically disturbing.
Well, no one cares what you think, and no one's ever gonna know what you think once your brain has been dumped in the dumpster after I'm done with it. I'm going to fix all of this. Not only will I be transplanted back into a man's body, but I'll be transplanted into a god's body. Oh, yeah, let's get this started.
Well, that's where you're wrong, Miss Rain. I mean, Maximite. Although I am greatly weakened due to that blast of dark matter and radiation you hit me with, I've still more than enough strength to take you down.
What?
There! That takes care of your will.
You hurt Mommy!
What?
You hurt Mommy!
Green snot!
Meet
What on
your
earth
new
is that?
brother, Sun King, or as I
No,
call
it's
him, Something.
impossible.
You get it? Something, because he's like a thing. Yeah. Oh, it's quite possible, Sun King. You see, once I got access to my idiot husband's technologies, the likes of which he utilized for all these clones, I was able to perfect it so you could salvage one of the male bodies. But as you can see, it's not quite up to snuff for my purposes, but since you walked into the trap, yours will do rather nicely. As far as the power that he possesses, well, I was able to create an immunity and reorganize his system to dark matter, based on the same systems that, again, my idiot husband had utilized for the likes of Warhead and Metalhead, So now he's powered by the very force that can bring you down. So, now Something, be a dear boy and put Sun King on the table while I activate my fully automated operation apparatus to perform the brain swap procedure on the both of us.
No. Can't let this happen. But so weak. My only option is to utilize what's left of my stellar energy to get off one solar burst.
Oh, that's too bad, Sun King. Looks like you shot your wad with terrible aim as it just went out the sunlight. Okay, Something. Strap him into the table so that we can begin the procedure.
Oh no, is this the end for Sun King?
It certainly looks like it. But we'll have to wait and find out in the next exciting episode in the Adventures of Sun King. The Adventures of Sun King is a Nailsin production. All characters and stories are written and performed by me, Douglas Nelson, with music by Kevin MacLeod and other public domain sources. This is a Nailsin News Bulletin. A prosecutor in Manhattan District Attorney Fat Alvin Bragg's office was robbed in her apartment building by a pervert she walked in on in the middle of a lewd act. The 38-year-old assistant district attorney arrived home to her 44th Street pad around 2 a.m. when she found the creep masturbating in the hallway of her building. The frightened lawyer dropped her phone, and the sicko snagged it before fleeing the scene. Still shaken, the victim called 911, with cops tracing her stolen phone to 45th Street and 8th Avenue. The intersection is the site of the Rao NYC Hotel, a ritzy establishment once known as the Milford Plaza and a favorite for tourists before the city converted it into a migrant shelter in 2022. City Hall has scrambled to find a space for thousands of migrants who have flooded the 5 boroughs after crossing the U.S. border with Mexico seeking asylum over more than 2 years. Law enforcement sources said the creep who assaulted the Manhattan prosecutor remains on the loose and is not immediately clear if her stolen phone has been recovered. I would take that as no, it hasn't. It is not known if the robber is a resident of the converted hotel. Odds are he is. Manhattan's Fat Alvin Bragg's office did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Say, do you think the district attorney's office will suddenly realize that crime's a problem? No. Well, one of them realizes it. This has been a Nailsin News Bulletin.
The views and opinions expressed during the Mr. Nailsin Show do not necessarily reflect those held by RadioMisfits.com. So, any complaints and or comments should be sent to @MrNailsin on Twitter, where they will be promptly ignored and or blocked.
People say black underwear works great when it comes to concealing unsightly skid marks. That's true, but it does nothing for sharding. No matter the aesthetics, in the end, you're still sitting in shit.